Oh yeah. Thought I'd join you for the Carabao Cup quarter-final special, seeing as I'm involved. It's always nice to hear my own festive misery just before Christmas. Also, we've got League One, League Two, and National League Prem, including one National League Prem highlighted game. So it made sense to jump on board, provide a bit of context, also a bit of an update from the weekend, and also what's coming up ahead for the always busy Christmas period. Actually, quite nicely, we're getting the league game out of the way first. Bit of an arbitrary choice. This one, I think, this week, I believe all 6 of us drafted teams from the National League Prem are involved in games today, but for some reason, despite being 9 points clear at the top, potentially 6 if Marshy wins his game in hand, I've actually seen otbCraig fewer times than any of the other 28 teams. Made sense to drop in. I think it's all been so routine and comfortable for him in recent weeks, we haven't needed to. That being said, at the weekend, a very rare dropping of points. Can only manage a draw at Charlton's 2014, but still undefeated in the league. You'd expect, especially at home, there should be another 3 points to get that rhythm back very quickly. But you never know, there have been a few drop points, especially in that National League Prem in recent weeks. Lovely bit of snow on the ground as well, how festive. Callum Wilson keeping the leading goal scorers from the league very much in his sights. It's actually Wout Weghorst who's leading that particular statistic at the moment for Burnley B. That being said, Denver Bar hot on his tail from Gore Liverpool, and certainly Callum Wilson's been a menace in the past few weeks. Absolute FM legend for those who know. What a hit that is! I was literally about to say Henrik Mkhitaryan's got the best average rating in the league. I think it's about to shoot up another few percentage points. What a hit. And that's that game wrapped up in the first half an hour. Perhaps gives me a bit of a chance now, before the quarterfinals get underway, to talk about the festive fixture deluge that's upcoming. Not much else this week, just a quick drop into the Europa Conference League to see how the Sky Blues get on in their final league game. They're already in the top 8, so no jeopardy there. Hopefully for Louis' sake they won't keep playing Aguero or other high profile players for no reason. Got injured last time. Beyond that, this weekend, normal round of games on the 20th, League 1, League 2, National League Prem, except for Louis who's playing on the Sunday because of that European venture. Then we get into the busy period, technically because of the way the calendar falls on FM compared to real life. Next round of league games is the 25th of December. Might not be available on that day, I'll check the calendar. See if I'm up to anything. But around that time, we've got some games on the 25th. Then on the 27th, the National League Prem alone have a round of fixtures as well. So we'll show what 5 of those 6 games as highlighted. The very next day on the 28th, League 1 and League 2 step up. Again, another 5 highlighted games there. Nice 3-day break then before New Year's Eve, where we have League 1, League 2 and the National League Prem all in action. And then another 3-day gap before the 3rd of January, where we've got FA Cup and league action for those that have already been knocked out. It's the 3rd round. A couple of days beyond that, we've then got the EFL Trophy. I think that's the 4th round we're up to now, which is the equivalent of the sort of regional quarterfinals, and a couple of National League Prem games in amongst that as well. I've already taken a look further beyond that into January, because it's pretty much every 2-3 days we've got games, but I think that's all you need to know for now. It's going to be pretty hectic, and I'll try and get the highlights over as when I can. Another comfortable win here for Sven's men. Come on, Palmer, 5th goal of the season from defensive mid. Not a bad return for the legend. And a comfortable win on our return to highlights at Carrow Road. I'm glad to get this one out of the way as well. About to say, I hope I've got Les Ferdinand and Michael Owen up front, or something similar to that. So of course it's MATTch and 69-year-old Peter Beardsley. Wyman. Wait, I was looking at the last year's Carabao Cup, which was won by the Sky Blues, and actually it was only Dan City Y, but the only team that made it to, that are in the quarterfinals, sorry, this year, that made it to the same stage last year. 7 of this year's final 8 are drafted teams. It's only Lawrence that's potentially got an easier game against one of the rest of the pyramid. Lot of grey hair on that pitch in my team. When it belongs to David Gindler and Peter Beardsley, you've got to allow it. Quite changed lineup for Dan City Y actually. That's a very different front four to what we're used to seeing. Terry Clampty, who's been running riot down the right wing, has been pushed back to right back today. When you look at, they've got Shevchenko, Morata, Sanchez, and they've been playing Lamptey on the wing. No place for Drogba or Yaya Toure from the starting lineup at least. So far they're not needed. Offside flag saving me there, and 4 substitutions in the first 10 minutes of the second half. So Bobby's not liking what he's seeing. And that's the 5th. produce a late equaliser. Not looking great. Especially not with Des Walker getting injured and me going down to 10 men. Fantastic. Wyman, forever the cup specialist, into another semi-final. Club World Cup winner, 2-time Community Shield winner. Won the FA Cup last year as well. If he could channel this into some league form, he'd be very dangerous. So this was that other game I was mentioning. Sunderland A are the last team that isn't drafted. Still left in the competition. See if Lawrence's White Hart Chamberlain can at least bring me some joy today watching Sunderland go out. But no, my luck, it will be Isak that scores a hat-trick or something just to take the edge off. Might sound a bit bitter today, but I haven't quite got over Sunday's derby defeat. Put out a very strong team. I suppose at the quarter-final stage you would be taking it seriously. Especially against the strike force of Kenwyne Jones and Niall Quinn. What a hit that is. I could feel that coming the minute he lined it up. Second scorcher of the evening. And just like that otbCraig game, it's pretty much done and dusted within half an hour. Barring an absolute disaster, that's Lawrence joining Wyman in the semis. Before half time. There it is. White Hart Chamberlain still very much in the automatic promotion race in League 2 at the moment. Enjoying themselves. Oh, that's a nicely worked goal. Of Stephen Wright and Phil Bardsley brought on to turn the tide. If people remember Stephen Wright, he was about 80% is. And that is a Højbjerg hat-trick. Couple of cameos for some of Florence's youngsters. Bergvall and Ziegler coming on. About as simple a way to a semi-final as you could hope for. This game could be a whole lot closer though. In fact, the final two should be absolute classics in theory. So these two teams were 1 and 2 in League Two for the first 10 or so games. By far the best performing teams. Arsened did fall off a cliff slightly for a few weeks, but have got a toehold again over the past week or so. The Red Whall, on the other hand, is sort of starting to show potential signs of shaking themselves. Still going strong towards the top of the table, but this should be a very evenly matched game, and it's the away side that get the early advantage. The iconic Onana brought in for a cup game feels like a mistake under any circumstance, to be honest. Well, I called it. This is going to be a cracking game. A rare outing for Johnson. Wonder how much of this game Ozil's going to get through with that big orange medical symbol on his head. Not the most hardy of players from memory. At least we are now guaranteed all 4 of the semi-finalists will be drafters. 2-legged affairs, of course, before the final in Feb or March. Guaranteeing them an absolute raft of rubbish European games in the Europa Conference League next year, like Louis is currently struggling with. But loads of highlighted games on Sundays, playing on your own. So yeah, Steve Ball's come on. It didn't go well last time. I think he came on when the scores were relatively level and they ended up conceding 3 in extra time in the FA Cup to Marshyside. He's come on to make amends here, hopefully. He also went to a back 3 last time. This is looking oddly familiar, and it did not go well last time. Jack Wilshere now playing as an anchor man. Patrick Vieira's lost the plot in the cup once more, as has his players. This seemed grimly predictable. What on earth is he playing at? Two cup games in the space of about 10 days. Completely sacrificed by outrageous decisions. And it's the Red Whall that go to the semis. Well done, Tom. And in theory, saving the best till last. Jamie's Foyverton side obviously won League 2 last year and very much in the hunt for the League 1 title this year. A bit indifferent of late, but I mean, nothing to worry about. Shesh, meanwhile, has been absolutely flying in League 2. Lost in the playoff final last year, would have been one of the favourites this year anyway, as living up to that tag in recent weeks. One notable thing though, God knows who their keeper is. Some bloke called Evan Davis. No idea. Definitely not drafted. Might be a regen. Might be someone that hovered around the Southampton youth team that I've never heard of anyway. Either way, it's a pretty bold call from Ange. Away at probably the best draft team. Well, officially the best draft team we have. And after saying it would be an absolute classic, that first half went by in about 10 seconds. Can Evan Davis hold firm? There's a new star being born in front of our eyes. I'm trying to see who Cheshire's goalkeeping options usually are. He's got Edwin van der Sar, Brad Friedel and Paul Jones. Can't believe that they're all unavailable to the extent of needing this stranger. Stranger no longer holding firm either. Oh dear. It's a shame because I think it's probably decided what would have otherwise been a very tight game. Yep. The only League 1 team left in the competition, and they go into the Final Four, barring a pretty unlikely comeback at this stage. Stamping his authority on those he left behind. Poor little Evan. Quick Google, see if Evan Davis is a real thing. Nope. Unless he's a neurosurgeon and pediatrics, orthopedics and spinal consultant that they've just brought in for a laugh. It could be. I think it's Ange that might need the neurosurgeon for making that decision in the first place. Shame, this could have been a really good game. Left with one burgeoning question. Who the fuck is Evan Davis? At least we know who our 4 semi-finalists are though. Foyverton, Dauncey Y, the Red Whall and White Hart Chamberlain all still in with a shout of the Carabao Cup this season. Let's have a quick look. We need to see. There he is, 16-year-old regen Evan Davis. Just the right time for him to get his debut. Cracking decision. Oh, that is not how you spell league. I've lost the plot, just like Ange. Oh, we're still latest. This is all going wrong. There we go. Another good win for Thomarse. Found some form and found a striker finally. Fatty's still come off the bench to grab a goal, but Drew taking his rightful place back. Win for Ellister. Bit less comfortable. 3 points is 3 points. And we're FullofStrangeham. There they are. 3-1 win over Man City C. Despite going down to Georgios Samaras goal. On to League 2. Good win for Jazz of the Rovers after a loss at the weekend to Leeds UniTodd, keeping their promotion hopes very much on track. Henri rested for a game, which actually does make sense this time considering the busy festive period ahead, especially when it works. Narrow win for Connorwich over Dauncey's Devils. Again, just so inconsistent. A couple of recent losses, then suddenly beating a playoff hunting side. Does seem to make a difference when he's got MATTch and Fernandinho in there rather than MATTch and Madison. Good result for the Tractor Bolge. They seem to be drawing no matter who they play at the moment. Whether it's a non-drafted team like Brom B or promotion hunting Dan City Cal. 1-1 either way. Another run out for Finidi George, always pleasant to see. Equally inconsistent, Leeds UniTodd. A couple of really good results to get them within touching distance of the playoffs actually. And then suddenly an inexplicable 3-loss at home and an absolute battering stats-wise against slightly struggling Bustin Villa. Really bizarre. And well, maybe it's just Brom B are quality. Very unexpected loss, not helped by a Gundogan red card, admittedly. Robert Shaw, Marc-Antoine Fortuné and Zuiverloon putting Ziggy to the sword. And National League Prem. How did the others get on? Win for Marshy, so with his game, if he does win the game in hand, he'll go still within 6 of otbCraig. Hoyland again, it's not the first time he's been a hero in recent weeks. Good win for Gore Liverpool, the other team potentially within a shout of chasing down Craig. Brennan Johnson with the winner. it's always one that seems to drop points, at least. Burnley B, who it's not the first time they've spoilt the party this year. Luton struggling to win that one. Second win in a few days for Liam though. 1-0 at the weekend, 2-0 today. Cements his place in the playoff positions. As does this win for Nottingham Giant Forest, who are in very good form at the moment. Yeboah and Moy doing enough. Go back up and look at the tables. Top four, all comfortably in the top four now. No danger from anyone. And Thomarse really has had a great run of form to get himself back in the automatic hunt. Jazz and the Rovers back up top. The Red Whall look pretty handy. Carabao Cup semi-finalists, few games in hand. Same can be said for Warringham, White Hart, Chamberlain, all the way down to me really. Or further down to Louis and Wyman. Bit unclear as to how it's panning out, other than it just being exceptionally close. And finally the National League Prem. Like I say, 9-point gap, although second place has a game in hand. And the top six where they should be. So I'll leave it there. Like I say, we've got just one League 2 game tomorrow, actually, I forgot to mention, followed by European scoreline on Thursday, and then we get into the festive thick of it. See you then.